All right, welcome everyone. Let's take a deep dive into what's trending in Japan.
Sounds fun.
This time, it's kind of like eavesdropping on someone's year-end wrap-up, you know?
Oh, well.
All in Japanese, rapid fire, super casual.
Wow. So not made for like an international audience then.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
genuine glimpse into what's grabbing attention over there.
Good.
And get this, it covers everything. We're talking pop culture, art, even like architecture and societal stuff.
Sounds like a lot to unpack.
We'll translate and break it down, don't worry. I'm already hooked on some of the entertainment recommendations.
Okay. Like what?
They're suggesting a show called Family Game for the New Year's break. No clue what kind of game that is. And then there's He's a Handsome Guy, which, who knows, could be a cooking show, a rom-com.
Yeah, the mystery is part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
But I think these shows kind of hint at bigger trends in Japanese entertainment,
Oh, for sure.
like Family Game. It's actually a re-airing of an old 80s drama,
Yeah.
which maybe means there's like a nostalgia wave happening.
Wow, I didn't even realize it was a re-airing. That definitely adds another layer. Speaking of things that, stick around, they also mentioned the anime Five Equal Brides getting another run. Anime's huge globally, but what keeps people coming back for more, even years later?
Well, Five Equal Brides uses this classic harem anime trope, always a hit, but it also like plays with those expectations, right?
Okay, so kind of familiar, but with a twist.
Exactly. Comfort and excitement all in one. A winning combo.
Makes sense. For a different kind of family fun, they mentioned the Super Mario Bros. Movie airing on New Year's Eve. Mario's a classic. Can't go wrong.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in Japan, Mario's like a cultural icon, right?
Sure.
Picking that film for New Year's Eve is smart. Tap into that nostalgia, guaranteeing a big audience.
Let's switch gears to the art scene. Our sources buzzing about all the exhibitions, big names, niche stuff, you name it.
Oh, cool.
They mentioned the A Space Louis Vuitton, which I'm imagining like a high fashion art gallery.
It's actually a trend. Luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, they're creating these dedicated art spaces, almost like mini museums.
Oh, cool.
The one in Tokyo showcases cutting-edge art. Think immersive installations, multimedia experiences.
So it's not just paintings on a wall then?
Not at all. It's a whole experience.
Makes sense why it'd be popular. They also mentioned Time Magazine's top movies. Tupa, Baby Girl, and All That Breathes. Pretty diverse, right?
Yeah, documentaries, independent films. Just from this one source, you get a feel for how vibrant Japan's art world is.
Totally. And they're into architecture, too, specifically a Chinese firm, MVRDV.
Interesting.
Their description of MVRDV's website really got me. They love the design, how interactive it is, even say it's one of the best they've seen.
Wow. So even in architecture, user experience matters.
Totally. And that focus on user experience is reflected in MVRDV's actual designs, too. Their buildings are known for being both visually striking and super functional, integrated with their surroundings.
They mentioned specific examples.
Yeah. The Qatar National Library and the Vienna University of Economics.
Wow. I'll have to check those out.
Now, for something totally different, they mention a crisis of festivals in Japan. Kind of concerning.
Oh.
They blame declining populations in rural areas, which I guess is happening globally. What makes this crisis unique to Japan, though?
Well, in Japan, festivals are deeply connected to communities. They often carry centuries of tradition.
Ah, I see.
It's not just losing entertainment. It's about potentially losing cultural heritage, even community identity. What happens when those traditions fade?
That's a great question. Switching gears again, they mention defense tech gaining traction and funding.
Makes sense, right? It's tied to global anxieties, but also all the tech advancements happening.
Yeah, like we're seeing more investment in things like AI surveillance, autonomous weapons, cybersecurity.
It shows how tech trends aren't just happening randomly. They're shaped by, like, global politics, too.
It's complex, for sure. This deep dive is helping us break it all down, though. They also mentioned some stuff from the retail world, the collapse of the Frasers Group, and Dover Street Market hitting its 20th anniversary.
Interesting. So even in retail, you have stories of, like, struggle and success.
Totally. Dover Street Market, for example, is known for its curated approach. They blend high fashion with art, creating a shopping experience that feels more like an exhibition.
That's cool. They make it an experience, not just shopping.
Exactly. Speaking of making life more enjoyable, they rave about this simple jacket holder from the 100 yen shop, Syria.
A jacket holder.
Yeah. They're like, you need this when you go out. We've all been there, right? Juggling bags, wishing for an extra hand.
Haha, yeah.
Just those little things sometimes. They also mention stress-reducing gadgets, which is intriguing. Unfortunately, they don't go into detail about what they are.
Oh, come on. Now I'm curious.
Me too. It makes you think, though, about how we use technology. Are we using it to manage stress, or is it causing more of it?
That's a big question. Definitely worth exploring. Yeah, it's like these trends reflect those anxieties we were talking about. The whole defense tech thing, for example.
It is a little unsettling, right? Especially next to the whole crisis of festivals thing, like two totally different trends, but kind of showing what people are worried about, you know?
Totally. It shows how connected they are. Some communities struggling to keep their traditions alive, others focused on tech that could, like, push us further from those traditions.
That push and pull between tradition and, well, everything new. But hey, maybe some fashion will lighten things up. Our source dives into some 2024 fashion highlights, including the GQ Men of the Year fashion report. Always interesting, those.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Those Men of the Year lists, they're not just about clothes, though. It's more about the guys who are, setting trends, doing things differently, fashion icons, celebs, cultural influencers.
So it's about their impact, not just what they wear. The source also mentions a designer, Istri, and this trend called method dressing, made popular by the group Ryusei. Any thoughts on those? You're the fashion expert.
Honestly, those are new to me.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool about fashion, always something new popping up. Method dressing, though, that sounds, intriguing.
Right.
Maybe it's a whole, philosophy about personal style.
Ooh, good question for our listeners. Back to business, though, the source mentions the Frasers Group collapsing, a big retail chain. Must have been a shock.
Yeah, definitely. Shows that even the big names can struggle to, keep up. E-commerce has changed the game.
True. And as one door closes, another celebrates a milestone. Dover Street Market is marking its 20th anniversary. That's huge, especially in the always changing world of fashion.
Totally. Shows they're doing something right. They've stayed ahead of the curve, reinventing themselves, doing collabs with artists and designers, creating a shopping experience that's more like an art gallery.
Art gallery vibes, love it. Speaking of art, the source highlights this exhibition, Maison Martin Marchila. That sounds incredible. They use words like overwhelming immersion and transcendental beauty. Almost spiritual, the way they describe it.
Maison Martin Margiela is known for being avant-garde, deconstructing fashion and design. So, yeah, exhibition of their stuff would be something else.
Right.
It probably plays with, space, form, perception, creating a whole environment that makes you think differently about art and design.
Now, get this. They go from high fashion, conceptual art, straight to talking about visiting the Israel National Library. Such a jump.
It's like this whole source, right?
Yeah.
Jumping around like a real conversation. But it shows how, different interests can, coexist. Maybe they got design inspiration there or just enjoy the contrast.
And to bring it back around, they mention the Israel National Library was designed by, wait for it, MVRDV, the
Yeah.
Chinese firm we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They also mention the Qatar National Library as another example of their work.
Wow. It all connects. It's like architecture isn't just looks. It's creating spaces that, serve a purpose, inspire, connect us to our surroundings.
That idea runs through all of this, right? Even with all the tech, we still want those human connections, those shared experiences. Speaking of which, the source mentions Hatsumode, the Japanese custom of visiting a shrine or temple at New Year's.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
They even recommend specific temples, like one for Inari.
It's a cool tradition. Shows how important community and rituals are. Time for reflection, renewal, setting intentions for the year.
And let's be real, those temple visits usually involve yummy food stalls and decorations. It's a whole experience.
For sure.
But then they bring up that crisis of festivals again because of, fewer people in rural areas.
Bittersweet, isn't it? We embrace new stuff, but got to think about the impact on our heritage, too. Those festivals fading, it's a loss for those communities and for, Japan's whole cultural fabric.
Makes you think, can you adapt those traditions to, a changing world without losing what makes them special?
Definitely something to think about.
They then take us on a quick museum tour, mentioning the Nakano Car Museum and the Toyota Municipal Museum of Art.
It's like a crash course in Japanese culture. We've gone from, fashion and avant-garde art to ancient temples to museums about cars and traditional art.
So much variety. And for the health-conscious listeners, they mention a Fukushima prefectural health seminar focused on, healthy living and living longer. Guess New Year's resolutions are universal.
Uh-huh. Seems like it. It's cool to see how different cultures approach health and wellness. In Japan, they really emphasize preventative care, healthy eating, mindfulness.
And speaking of eating, get this, our source went to an all-you-can-eat soba noodle event for New Year's Eve. Free courage and ramen, too. Not sure how that fits into the healthy lifestyle thing.
Soba noodles are actually a traditional New Year's Eve dish in Japan. They symbolize longevity and good luck.
Ah, so it's all about balance then.
Yeah, exactly. A little indulgence doesn't hurt.
Love that. They then mentioned something called the European Art of Taste, which sounds fancy.
Based on the context, I think they're talking about how European cooking has influenced Asian cuisine. Maybe there's a specific event or trend happening in Japan around that, like fusion of flavors.
Ooh, that's interesting. Food is such a cool way to, like, explore cultures and their influences.
Totally. And when culinary traditions blend, you get some of the most exciting, innovative dishes.
Speaking of innovation, they mention a virtual currency project getting funding from venture capitalists. Crypto's still a hot topic, huh?
Definitely. And this shows that people are still interested in blockchain tech, not just for cryptocurrency. I think we'll see more experiments, more development in that area.
It's like we're still figuring out what's possible with these technologies. The future of finance could look very different.
Totally agree. It's a space to watch. They also mentioned something called the Kyushu Special Zone Venture Fund, which sounds more localized.
Yeah, what's that about?
From the name, it sounds like the government is supporting startups and innovation in the Kyushu region, probably to boost the economy, create new opportunities there.
Interesting to see governments getting involved in, like, entrepreneurship and innovation.
It makes sense, though. In a global economy, regions need to stand out, attract investment. Supporting new businesses is one way to do that.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Fashion, tech, festivals, even soba noodles.
Yeah.
But there's still a few more interesting things from our source that I want to unpack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm ready for more. It's those little details that often give the most unexpected insights.
Okay, remember all those Japanese TV shows we were guessing about?
Yeah, I do.
Well, the source actually gives us more info on some of them. It's quite the mix.
Oh, cool. Spill the tea.
All right, so Family Game first. Turns out it's a re-airing of an 80s drama.
Interesting.
It's about this mysterious tutor who moves in with the family and uses, well, kind of unusual methods to help the kids get better grades.
So there's the nostalgia factor, but maybe the show's themes still resonate today, right?
Yeah, like the pressure of the education system, family dynamics, those things haven't really changed, have they?
Not really, no.
Then there's Wingman. I thought based on the title it'd be about, like, dating and stuff.
Right.
But nope, it's a medical drama about flight doctors.
Wow, talk about a plot twist. Medical dramas are always popular, though.
True, true. And then there's A Child of That Child. The title alone suggests some complicated family stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be about secrets, maybe generational differences, the challenges of being parent these days.
Whose themes are, like, universal, right?
Definitely.
The source also mentions Delicious Party Pretty Cure, an anime that's super popular with kids.
The Pretty Cure series. It's huge over there.
I know, it's like colorful characters, action, positive messages about teamwork and friendship.
It's like their superhero thing, but with extra sparkle.
Exactly. They also mention teasing Master Takagi-san and Handsome, but not much detail. Still, it gives you an idea of what people are watching.
It's a little peek into their pop culture, right? Even with all the global stuff out there, people still want stories that, reflect their own culture.
Oh, for sure. Okay, remember that stress-reducing gadget, the one they were so excited about?
Yeah, the mystery gadget.
Turns out, it's not some fancy tech thing, but a jacket holder from the 100-yen shop, Syria.
What? A jacket holder?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously. It's like sometimes the simplest solutions are the best.
That's so Japanese, though, right? Practical, clever design.
Totally. It's a reminder that trends aren't always about the newest, shiniest thing. Sometimes it's about those little things that make life easier, more enjoyable.
And in a world that's, often kind of crazy, maybe those little things are the most important trends of all. Finding joy in simple things, being practical, appreciating those small moments. I like that.
Me too. Well, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into what's trending in Japan.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey.
We've covered everything from anime and architecture to high fashion and, well, jacket holders.
And remember, all this came from one person's, casual rundown. It's amazing how much it tells us about what's happening in Japan right now.
Right. It shows how those global influences mix with their unique perspective. Tech, demographics, world events, but also tradition, community, that appreciation for beauty and function.
It's all connected. And for our listeners, here's something to think about.
Mm,
How do these trends compare to what's happening where you are? What's similar? What's different? It's a reminder that trends are both global and local.
that's a great point. And if any of this piqued your interest, go explore. There's always more to learn. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Japanese trends.